Hi everyone, it's Laurel, and today's video is all about distress oxide techniques. I'm going to be creating 5 different cards, all with the same stamp set and all using different distress oxide techniques. So if that sounds like something that's fun to you, then hang with me because I'm going to get right to it. Okie dokie, so let's get to it. I'm going to just show you a couple of ways that I created different backgrounds using the same stamp set. Some I did masking, some I didn't. So this is a fun pomegranate stamp set from Altenew, and it has a bunch of different images on it. And I'm just showing you how I'm just going to create a couple of different layouts here. I was trying to get away with not having to mask, but I did. So I found some tape on my desk, this literally used frog tape, and I just kind of tore it into little pieces, covered up the area of the pomegranate that I needed to mask off, and then boom, I got my little mask. And I'm going to use the same tape and just kind of move it over to I'm so lazy. But it works, it works. You don't need all that fancy masking paper if you don't have it. Use tape, washi tape, sticky notes, typing paper. There's a bunch of different ways that you can mask without having to invest in the masking paper. So I'm just going to add this one final floral, and you can either use your MISTI stamping tool or you can use an acrylic block. It's really whatever's easiest for you. And here I'm going to show you the other layouts that I have already stamped off camera and show you what stamps I used from the pomegranate stamp set. So let me go ahead and pull that stamp set in so you can see what I'm referring to. And then I'll just point to the stamps that I used when creating that. So that one I just did on camera, so I don't think you need any help with that one. But moving on to the next one, I just used the single stamp that has the double pomegranates on it. This one I used 2 of the little floral, the big and the small, and just created a little cluster down at the bottom of a piece of cardstock. Here I used the single pomegranate and also just this leafy, leafy what? I don't know, whatever it's called. Then the double pomegranate and the single pomegranate. And I just created a bunch of different backgrounds. So now we're going to go in and start using some of the Distress Oxide techniques. I have some other videos up that I'll link to right up here in the right-hand corner where I use some Distress Oxides as well. Lots of different techniques and a kind of in-depth look at the oxides because they really are unique because you can do a lot of techniques with them, but you can also layer colors on top of colors and it won't turn to mud. So here I am just adding the pink and the yellow together. I masked off an area just by using some used purple tape that of course was on my desk that I used in a previous project. I try to use these tape over and over again until it's just disgusting and then I'll throw it away and get a new piece. So you can see I created this fun little border with the pink and the yellow. I'm just going to pull up some more of that color that's already on those blending brushes. And those are the blending brushes from the Stamp Market, by the way. And here's a look at this finished card there. I just added a little sentiment right above the Distress Oxide line, and this card is done. Easy peasy. All right, so let's move on to another way. Again, I'm still using the blending brushes. That's an Amazon blending brush, and I'm just going in and blending in some of that picked raspberry oxide. Then I will go in with the green, I think it's Mowed Lawn, and I have a skinnier blending brush also from Amazon. It's from that one very inexpensive kit that I reviewed right up here in the right-hand corner. And then I'm just going to add some water droplets to the pomegranates, and then that's going to finish off this card. See how easy peasy it is? All the cardstock that I'm using is B watercolored cardstock, and I'll link to it below in the description. I got it off of Amazon just to try it out. So here is the picked raspberry. I sprayed onto my craft mat or my glass mat and then added a water, and then I'm just basically kind of bending my cardstock a little bit and then just pressing onto the glass mat. I'm trying to get like vertical lines of that picked raspberry here. That's the goal I'm going for. Now again, what makes the Oxides unique is you can layer color on top of color. You just want to make sure that if you're using colors that don't complement each other, say a purple and a yellow, because that would typically turn to mud, just make sure that you dry the Oxide color before you layer on the next color. I think that's a really fun thing to do. Now here I'm using some packaging from a stamp set that I pulled out of the garbage. Added a little bit of the red. I think this is, what is that, Best of Berries? I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll link the right colors below in the supply list. And then I'm just pressing on that color, and I'm using the packaging here because I wanted to see where I'm adding the color. And if I had taken my card and pressed it down onto my glass mat, I really wasn't going to be able to see where the color was going, and therefore I wouldn't have any control over its placement. So I think that's so much fun. So this is kind of like the smushing technique, if you will. Then I'm going to add a little bit of Nouveau drops in the color white to the center of the pomegranates, and that'll be this card. Just stamped a cute, fun little hello sentiment right there to the left, and that takes a look, and that completes that card. Here's a look at that one. Moving on, moving. Then I'm going to take a small blending brush, and this is kind of like almost a tie-dye look because it's a round brush. It came in that same kit from Amazon, and I'm just kind of pouncing it on there, and it creates almost like, I don't know, I want to say like a tie-dye look, if you will. So I'm just going in with the pink right at this point, and you can do whatever colors you want. You can really use whatever inks you want, but I wanted to use Distress Oxides because the colors will blend and not turn to mud if I add water to it. Now here I am finally going in and adding a little bit of yellow, which is squeezed lemonade. Again, all the supplies that I'm using and the colors and whatnot are linked below in the description for you. Then I'm just going to create a little outline with the yellow. Just using this one itty bitty blending brush that probably at the time when I got the pack, I think it's a 12 pack, I probably tossed this to the side saying, what in the world am I going to use this little tiny brush for? But here you go. I found a use for it. Don't toss it. Then added a little bit more green. I think that's mowed lawn. And that's that. I just think that's cool. Like little pouncing look, if you will. Here's the final look at that card in a close-up. All right, so we're going to move on to the very last card that I'm going to be making, and we're going to just do some watercoloring here. So I'm taking all the colors that I've used, and again, I've only used 4 colors in all these cards, only 4 colors total. And I went ahead and pressed them down onto my glass mat and added a little spritz of water to each color there, just to kind of liquefy it a little bit more. And here I am just going to go in and do very, very simple watercoloring, absolutely nothing to it. I'm just adding color everywhere to the flowers, to the leaves, and whatnot. Then I'll go in and add some pink on top of that. Then I'll add some yellow on top of that. And again, if you don't want the colors to blend together, just make sure that the ink is dry before you add on a new color. And then it'll actually layer on top of it and not turn into a, it won't mix together. Am I making sense? Sometimes you want it to mix, sometimes you don't. In this instance, I did not want it to mix. I wanted each color that I'm adding to layer on top of the other color, which is why in between each application, I made sure that the ink was good and dry before I added a new color. I hope that makes sense. So here I am adding green, whatever, I'm just messing around. To get it kind of a loose watercolor look, here's your trick. While the ink is still wet, just spray it with water and let all the water kind of seep outside the edges of the outline. And then that gives it like that loose watercolored feel. Whereas if I tried to do this with a brush, I would try to make it too perfect and it wouldn't have that organic feel to it where the water just kind of blended outside on its own. So that's a trick. And it's super easy. I added a little bit of detail with a black pen and this card is done, complete, finito. So that's all 5 cards today using the same exact stamp set. So 1 stamp set, 5 cards, and 5 different Distress Oxide techniques. Now I have fun creating these cards. I don't eat pomegranates, but I like how they look. I think they're healthy for you. I think they're good for you. I think they try to put them in my smoothies all the time. So anyway, here's the look. Finished up all these cards with some Oxides and 1 stamp set. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today. Let me know if you did in the comment and if you have a favorite card. And I will be back next time for a new video tutorial. I'll see you soon. Bye.